and novelty songs. Spoofs, goofs, and novelty songs. Spoofs, goofs, and novelty songs. Spoofs, goofs, and novelty songs.
Are we gonna keep, like, implying that one of us is, like, saying horrible things every week?
Well, maybe if one of us would stop, Marty.
Welcome to Spoofs, Goofs, and Novelty Songs.
A podcast about Marty being canceled.
God, leave me alone. This week we are reviewing Kung Fu Hustle, a 2004 action comedy made by Stephen Chow. Starring
Stephen Chow.
Starring Stephen Chow, written by, directed by and Stephen Chow. And the credits also, by the way, he's listed first for all of those things, but there were other producers and other writers of this movie.
Yeah, whatever. He carried the film on his back.
Yeah, you know what? He did.
Spoiler alert, the movie was good.
Hey, I had never seen this before.
Either did I.
The strongman was carrying the movie on his back.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, this movie, I had no idea what to expect, and even like doing this as a spoof, I knew that it was sort of a parody of kung fu movies, but like I knew it wasn't like a very big parody. But this movie is super wacky and
so wacky,
really, really well written. Though
there were times where I was like, "Am I watching Looney Tunes right now? Is that the Roadrunner and the Wild D Coyotes?"
They literally do that, yes.
But I can see every wrinkle and pore on their face.
This is Looney Tunes HD.
They also do the hallway of blood from The Shining towards the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which is out of nowhere. There's just a hallway of blood.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to do it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay. I have a very interesting story about this movie.
Oh, let me have it.
When I first got Netflix in the year 2010, when they were still giving out DVDs,
so long ago.
This was, I think, maybe the first DVD, because somebody had recommended it to me. And this was the first DVD, and I watched 20 minutes, and then I hit the little old eject button, and I did not get... I didn't get it, which I didn't love it now when I watched it, but I definitely was like, oh, there's no reason to
dislike
get that bored with it. Like, yeah, no, it's good. Like, yeah. Wasn't that interesting?
Wow, Scott.
No, that was great.
Smooth brain Scott over here.
Smooth brain.
You didn't like Kung Fu Hustle? What's wrong with you?
I know. I'm nuts.
You're crazy.
The setup of this movie is two guys who want to be tough, gangster, cool Kung Fu guys try to mess with this, like, small apartment complex, and then the gang that they are impersonating actually shows up, and then they end up fighting three actual kung fu masters who are staying at this apartment complex, and then from there we just go. And by the way, great setup for a movie. Guy who is like pretending to be better, like this like bad thing, and he keeps doing bad stuff, and eventually has to like own up to his actions and like take responsibility for those things. Doesn't like fix anything he's done, but the fact that he's taking responsibility is what he's accomplished or learned over the course of the movie.
It's like an allegory for adulthood a little bit.
Very much so. But that's very well done in this movie, I thought. I really cannot stress how much I like this movie.
I thought it was great.
I thought it had actually some major problems.
Then let's talk about it.
Yeah, what problems?
No, I'd like to keep this to myself.
No!
I want you to know that they're there, but I will not go into detail.
Well, now I
it's
feel
too
like...
personal. No, it's just okay. The romance part of it was either do it or don't do it.
I agree with that.
I mean?
I do agree with that.
I think it was like just a joke on mute people, though.
Which is weird.
A joke? What was the joke then?
That she just couldn't tell him, hey, it's me from when we were kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because they run into each other like 4 times.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that's hilarious. No.
Kelly, you have every right to be mad at him for that.
What other... I guess that was my only major...
Yeah, which that is a major part of the plot.
And then also, but this is, I think it's like the difference between like Eastern and Western filmmaking maybe but just that it seemed like I had trouble figuring out who the main character was until like 2/3 of the way into the movie.
I kind of get that.
It is
It's just because of like he wants to be a bad guy is like his thing, and you don't really. I thought he was like a side character that was just.
He also doesn't show up until like half an hour in.
No, he's in like the whole thing pretty much. There's like the cold open to establish the gang, the Axe gang, and then like the minute we cut to the apartment complex, he shows up at that apartment complex and impersonating one of the Axe.
He does
gang
the
members.
Soccer thing, and that
he does. Yeah, right. He
and I was like,
with
dude, this guy's badass.
He shows up with his friend in overalls, and who's supposed to be that's like half an hour into the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty late in
the movie. Okay.
But it's I would say. Let's split the difference. It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
no, 25, and that's as much as I'll give you.
22.5?
You're twisting. You're breaking my balls here, Marty.
Sold.
I'm bringing a lot to this podcast.
I think part of that is that you can't make the movie just about him because he is like reprehensible for most of the movie. He's constantly doing terrible things and like knocking ice cream cones out of people's hands and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the whole like apartment complex as like the main characters for a lot of it, the landlady and her husband being this like ex kung fu masters also, and then the other kung fu guys who are also living there, as they were like the main characters for the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was smart because it was nice to like really get a lot of the supporting characters really well established, so you're really invested in are they going to survive by the end of the movie. And I thought that was great.
So I think there's merit in thinking that like the main character, it's like he shows up late, you can't really tell he's a main character, at least I couldn't.
Yeah.
Just because of like he's not powerful, you know.
Yeah.
And then like he doesn't really evolve as a character until he gets injured in that one fight,
basically.
and then it's like, oh, he metamorphed into a beautiful good guy, and it was like kind of weird. That said, I really like the world building in the movie.
Oh, when he becomes Jesus at the end, that was, the guy who wrote, direct, starred in, and produced the movie becomes Jesus at the end.
But it's a gag, right? Like, it's supposed to be funny.
It's Eastern culture, too, because it's
Yeah.
more...
I was crying.
Oh, Scott. Oh, Scott.
I think this is actually...
church.
It's structured like The Matrix if Keanu Reeves wasn't like the main... Like, if Keanu Reeves was like in The Matrix a little bit less, they'd be like the exact same movie almost.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the world building though, like the different characters, they differentiate them in like interesting, funny ways.
Yes.
I think like
You're talking like the opening
just
scene where you see all the kung fu masters like doing their day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, that and like their
styles.
styles,
Yeah.
like the costume design, like for the landlady and the landlord, they both had, I think the landlord wore like pajamas all the time or
Yeah.
something. The landlady had curlers in all the time and a cigarette. There was more, different aspects of all the different characters.
Yeah.
The bad guys, too. They had, the main bad guy had, like, wooden or gross teeth.
Yeah. But they all had different fighting styles, too, which also was, like, a really nice thing. Of like there was, like, the two assassons who, like, shoot knife, who play music, and that
was
shoots
great.
knife. I
the
love
twins
that.
from The Matrix,
cool.
but
But, like, good. Yes.
The Matrix thing,
Very apt.
there's more and more evidence.
Yes.
There really was. I loved. There's a lot of great choreography. I don't know. I was shocked at how enamored I was with like the world that the movie took place in.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I was constantly wanting like, I wonder like I want more backstory on this, but it would have ruined the movie.
it.
So.
Yeah, and if this movie came out like 10 years later, there would be 3 sequels where we learned where did these guys get this instrument?
Thank God.
Or like,
God, like just leave
it
it.
shows them like I think we should grow our nails out very long.
Rather than just like things exist because they exist.
Yeah. They're at a jazz club and they got ripped off, and that's their origin story. Then they killed the owner, and that's the owner's coffin.
Yeah,
Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
There you go. Wrote your movie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
I like that they portrayed landlords accurately.
And landladies inaccurately, or no, accurately, or inaccurately.
Just
Land people.
Rent chargers.
People who own the land.
Yeah, people who fucking get paid to do nothing.
Scott.
I thought that was good. But then, the landlady... Okay.
Hold on. Wait,
whoa.
We might have to cut this out. I looked at our analytics. We have a lot of landlords listening to this.
We are 90% landlords on this.
Oh, God. Well, let's end the podcast. So, the landlady... I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised when it's revealed that they're kung fu masters, but I also feel like it was earned.
Yes. No, agreed.
But what I thought it was before was that the landlady had stereotype superpowers. Like she was such a stereotype of a nagging wife that it gave her superpowers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think they were trying to play off of that.
Yeah.
Which is, again, yeah.
Another note I have is just that the special effects sometimes looked fake, which was sometimes a boon and sometimes not good.
I had that exact same note. Like, at some points, it's like, oh, it's cheesy and that plays off of kung fu movie style things, and then sometimes it's like, this has not aged well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like when you watch The Matrix. I'm going to keep going back to the
No,
Matrix,
I think it's a fair
but
comparison.
Same sort of CGI style. Like, they all had black suits on, but boy, those black suits look like plastic when it's CG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's very bad.
Or it's when they're trying to make it like this is a real thing happening, it's bad. But when it's like the cartoon
Wacky,
violence,
yeah.
then we stand.
The Roadrunner thing looks great. You know, like there was one of my favorite gags was they do a wrist lock at some point, and when they do the wrist lock, it shreds the person's clothes off in like a spiral starting from their wrist.
Oh, that was really good.
Incredible. Doing like a gag based on a martial arts hold or like a kung fu hold.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's what this whole movie
Well,
is.
because if you didn't do that, it wouldn't be like it's like a real thing you could do in kung fu or whatever, but it wouldn't look like visually. It doesn't look like a lot is happening,
Yes.
even though
Just-
there is.
Oh, yeah,
that
so they
adds to
found
it.
a way to yes,
and make it like wacky and
And
funny.
then because they did that, and then the next like a couple shots later, they were doing the same move on. I think the woman and the husband like flipped her around a bunch so that she wouldn't be affected by like the arm tear move. It was good stuff.
Yeah, this movie is like the aspect of kung fu movies that's spoofing, which is like the physicality stuff, is super well done throughout the whole movie. Also, I was gonna say this movie has every comedy sound cue in the world and every famous movie cue in the world. Like every bit of like little like all that stuff, every little score thing that you've heard in every movie ever. This movie is just like has them all. Yeah.
The Hellman scream when you scream into when you scream into
Is that the new Jimmy John's sandwich? It's the Wilhelm scream, Kelly.
No, it's more fun to say helmets though. It's when you scream into a mayo jar.
Well, that's the title of this fucking episode.
We don't even title the episodes, but now we have to.
I know. I've been saying this. Inner workings of the podcast. Gotta get it in there.
You know, the titles are the names of the movies. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, I love the collective action of the poors in this movie. That every time, like it was like all the poor people standing in a group saying, "You can't fuck with us."
Yeah.
And, like,
workers' rights.
I love that the gang is handled really well as like the villains. They are very menacing and evil, but they also get their ass kicked the whole time.
Yeah, it's the gang. I feel like serves as more of like an inevitable force of nature rather than like there's not a whole lot of character development with the Axe Gang other than they're bad and they're coming. And it's more about all the people in the apartment complex and how they react to it.
They also serve as like a really nice setup for the actual villain of it, which is this like the greatest killer ever, the Beast.
Oh yeah,
who's just like an old man.
Which his motivation is also really cool. That like he's the best kung fu master in the world. He's old. He's seen it all, and he just wants. This I think shows up in a lot of like animes and shit.
I was gonna say, Scott, if you like that,
Have I
got a couple of recommendations for you.
Yeah, well, no, because
Pokemon.
Here's the thing: anime, they're gonna spend like 3 episodes just really making sure you know that. Where this movie, they just sort of like reference it a few.
You're
times.
watching the wrong animes.
You know what? I don't have enough perspective to really know.
For more information on this, subscribe to our Patreon.
Or spoof animes.
Spanime.
I think it's time to rate this
Holy
movie.
shit!
Wait,
already?
no, dude. I'm not done.
Okay, if you got more thoughts, Kelly.
I want to talk about the 3 Kung Fu Masters because I mentioned the world building and like the the interesting characters. Those 3 Kung Fu Masters, when they're about to depart, is like one of my favorite.
Yeah, and they're all saying they're like, "Oh, we never knew this whole time," and they like all like
and they're
respect
like,
each other.
"Shall
so
we
much.
spar?" And they turn around and they're like, "No, I don't think so. We have got a long journey ahead." And as soon as they turn around, they like unsheath. What's
Unsheath? They're about to say sheesh, and they're like, no.
Unsheath their weapons.
Cheech.
And then they fight for like 2 seconds, and they all complement each other's weapons, and then immediately after that, they all die.
Yeah,
but having that scene right before they die like makes their death so
it's
much
great.
more.
It's really
and normally like doing that kind of like we're learning about these characters so close to like killing them off or them leaving the movie. We like never work in a movie, but it's really well done in this movie, so it just works.
Because they imply that there's a lot of history, and you're just getting like the
small glimpse,
1% of it. Because that kind of ties into a note I had that I put down for a scene later in the movie, but it works for both. Is just the repartee before a fight is always like great. Well, because the other thing I put down is that this movie is a Western.
Yeah,
because like there's so much of like it's like. One singular entity squaring off against another singular entity, and then they're like staring each other down, and it's like the little like conversation they have, like it's been a long time, like that kind of shit is always like fucking It's to me usually cooler than the fight. It's especially in a
for
western
sure.
because it's just two guys shooting each other.
Yeah.
Thankfully, this movie has a drawn out kung fu fight.
Yeah.
But still, the fucking the little like quippy dialogue right before they start fighting, always so cool.
I did want to ask you guys, how into like kung fu movies in general are you guys? I don't know. I'm just curious because like
Out of 10?
I'm not. Yeah, out of 10.
I'm gonna say a 3.8.
I don't know. I don't know where to start with them. I've watched, Jackie Chan movies mostly because those are the more
Police
recent
Story.
ones.
Drunken Master.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, Drunken Master, and what's the Brooklyn one?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes, that one.
that classic kung fu show.
Yeah, and I enjoy those.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so hard to find one that mixes good choreography with good narrative, I think.
Yeah.
Usually you get one of the two. And,
And I thought this
the
movie
narrative,
did good
the good kung fu is you'll find more often than you'll find a good. Most of the narratives in all these movies are bad
Yeah.
because it's
You
just
watch-
setting up
And
reasons
then,
to fight.
you get yelled at by your dad saying, "Why are you going to a kung fu movie if you want a good narrative? You go to a narrative movie. Go
Yeah.
see Schindler's List for the fifth
Your dad
time."
is Roger Ebert, right?
Yeah, my dad. he's
If we're
missing
talking about like
his jaw.
movies are
Oh my god! Wow, something we need to
Can we
cut out
cut that
from
out?
Kelly. Holy shit!
Cut that out, please?
This is a first.
no, I think we have to keep.
You're
it
just
in,
talking
actually.
about how you stay out of it. And
No, I screwed up.
I do think, like I don't know if you want. It's like kung fu movies to me have always been like if you want to come see choreographed action, you go see a kung fu movie. But I will say, for my taste, if I want to see choreographed action, I just watch wrestling. Like if I want to,
and the Furious.
Yeah,
Or
I don't
that
want
even.
them to do anything interesting with the camera. I just want them to point at it from far away.
Oh my god. Have I told you about how every time I watch wrestling, my first thought is, how does Marty like this?
Yeah.
Because that's true. I don't
Scott
get it.
has seen wrestling with me live before, and
know.
he told me he loved it.
I would probably enjoy it live more than I do on TV.
It is better
TV,
live.
It is so, like, you can see them not hit each other.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah, you have to, you just have to accept that as
I know.
part of it.
I know.
like-
I get it.
Yeah.
You watch for the plot.
And honestly, though, like part of the thing is how like the better wrestlers are the ones who convince you that they actually are hitting each other. Like that is generally
Yeah.
what is considered good wrestling. Is,
Wow, interesting point. That's I think that they're like not comparable because in one you can like edit and it's the
of
difference
course.
between like live music and record. It's the difference between like the Grateful Dead and Skrillex.
Yeah. It's
I
like listening to the
don't
chicken
disagree.
dance on vinyl. No thanks.
Yeah.
Live or nothing.
Live or nothing, baby. He's a chicken dance hardliner.
I toured with the chicken dance for years.
That's right. I'm a chicken head.
Oh, I said pinball sounds at the end. Now Kelly is interested.
I didn't even notice. That's how my suspension of disbelief was. It was so high up that I didn't even notice the pinball sounds.
So, as a movie and as a spoof, I'm giving it the same rating, guys. 10 out of 10. I thought this was a blast to watch. And as a spoof, I think it just does... Usually, we watch a lot of spoof movies that are just, like, very big, very broad, very, like, just doing, like, the dumbest gags possible. This movie is, like, weirdly very subtle in what it's trying to
got
make
a
fun
good
of.
balance.
It's got a good balance of, like, really wacky stuff in the world that they're created, but the satire is, like, very grounded and very small, I think, generally. So I think this movie does really well. Like, they're doing stuff that's, like, they're doing, like, making, like, a parody of, like, kung fu moves. Like, that's crazy to me to do that in a spoof movie. Like, most spoof movies are just not going to think that cleverly. about stuff.
It's a parody of something that's already very over the top.
Already silly, yeah.
Yeah. As a movie, I would give it a 7. Because there were just parts that didn't land for me, or like parts that I think you could like probably shave at least 20 minutes off this movie and improve it a lot.
Yeah.
Like the him punching inside of the weird metal enclosure. Huh?
Yeah, that went on for too long.
And I just didn't. Why? Like, yeah, it just didn't. Yeah, and then I just have one final note. Wait, and as a spoof, I'll give it a 8.5 out of 10 because I feel like it does a good job of making fun of what it's trying to make fun of. But it's I don't know. I feel like it's like creating like an original.
Yeah.
Like half of it's making fun of kung fu movies, and then it's also just like making fun of like life in general.
Yeah.
Too. So taking it down to a 7.
Yeah, that's fine.
Wow. And then finally, it's funny that the very strong man was sensitive. The end.
Now that's a good spoof.
Of course.
Kelly?
I give it a 10 out of 10 on both fronts. I think it's mostly just like bias from me going into it. Because first of all, I told Marty this. I thought we were watching Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I thought that's what Kung Fu Hustle was.
We should.
I was
at some
point. Yes. But I was like waiting. I was like, wait. I thought there was like a white protagonist in this movie, and then it didn't happen in Kung Fu Hustle. I was like, oh, okay. But I was super pleasantly surprised with it. I love the choreography. You know, like mixed between. I just can't talk.
Kelly needs to be reset.
For this episode of the pod, because we were recording 2 today. This is the second one. I feel like I did fine the first one. This coffee's not working anymore.
Yeah.
I need a refresh.
Pink lemonade.
I agree with you on like the points of like the protagonist and stuff like that, but I thought the world building and the characters just made up for it. Because like I just realized that the protagonist of the movie was like introduced as an antagonist, and he was introduced as like a really weak antagonist. Like when he was challenging the people in the crowd, and like telling them like he's like, you the short one, and it was just a really tall guy sitting down.
Oh, I forgot about that gag.
That was great.
That's the best gag.
It was very funny. He like challenged a woman, and the woman like punches him really hard. And he's like, oh, and he like spits out blood, and he's like, is that all you got?
There's a really buff little boy.
Yes.
Yeah,
every person
super bad
is
CG, but so funny.
The joke is like, in a crowd you can't see everybody, and then he keeps picking people out who like turn out to be like insanely buff.
Because he's like challenging them. He's like, not all at once.
Which, by the way, I feel like he could have. The tall man, being tall doesn't make you good at fighting.
Yeah.
No offense, Kelly.
Oh, hey man,
Kelly's
I'm a
tall.
Quaker. I fight no one.
You are wearing that powdered wig.
Yes. Oh, and I'm eating oatmeal. 10 out of 10. Good movie.
All
Good
right,
spook.
Scott.
What could you possibly have to say?
Normally I have a question for you, but I have a guess as to what you've brought for a novelty song this week.
Oh, please do tell.
So I have 2 guesses. Guess number 1, which I don't think it is.
Is it everybody was kung fu fighting?
I'll let Marty finish. Kelly, just let him have it.
What? What was the second guess?
Kelly ruined this bit off mic and on mic now.
I mean, to be fair, it's like
Is it a bit?
there's not a lot to ruin.
Scripting it.
This is a thin premise.
I thought it might be The Hustle, and then I realized, oh, what a fool! It's of course Kung Fu Fighting.
That's right. So much fun is the reveal of the song.
Oh my gosh.
When
It would have been.
I said this earlier in the group chat. When one of us has a piece of information that the other two don't have, is that scintillating content.
I don't think any of us. You were the only one with the information, though. I just, themed episode.
It was just pretty obvious what you were going to pick.
Anyways, the song is Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas. Came out in 1974.
Carl Douglas? Of
Yeah.
Kung Fu Fighting fame?
Yeah, that's the very same.
He was fast as lightning, I believe.
No, he was just describing people who were. You're confused, Martin.
Oh, yeah, I misheard the lyrics.
So it was produced by a fella named Badu Apaya, and he hired Douglas to sing a song called I Want to Give You My Everything. And so they had scheduled a 4-hour recording session, and they took 3 hours to track that first song, and they thought that was going to be, the big single. But then they had another hour left scheduled, so they're like, let's use this recording time, why wouldn't we? They take a break, they come back, they got like half an hour left, and they're deciding, what are we going to do with this last half hour? And Douglas shows the producer a song he'd written, Kung Fu Fighting. They bip bop boop, knock it out really fast.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Hey, we got an hour, and I got this slight cultural appropriation-based song.
More than slight. But yeah. Yeah. Well, you know
Back
what?
then
He
it
never
was
says.
slight.
He never said. It could be.
Everybody's
Group
just
of guys from Michigan.
just
We
kung-
don't know.
they're just doing Kung Fu.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just... Never mind.
Anyways.
They do. Okay, yeah.
What are the lyrics? Let's peruse.
Oh wait,
these
no, he
lyrics.
does say those. Oh Jesus, he does say those funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown.
Correct.
There's no saving.
Okay,
it.
They,
There's- yeah.
they also do the
Chinatown.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Was like that's
yes.
that's big appropriation.
Yeah, well, again, from the 70s. Okay, so it came out during. There's a big kung fu boom in the 70s thanks to Bruce Lee, which that continued into the 80s, and that's how you get movies like Gremlins, Big Trouble in Little China, where like the exotification of Asians goes so far that it's like they're all sorcerers. No, we did not treat Asian cultures well, and still probably
Well, not we.
don't.
Other people didn't.
Americans.
Yeah,
Americans.
We don't speak for America, though.
We can. We're part of the problem, Marty. It's fine. If we try to distance ourselves, it looks worse. So
Yeah, you know what?
Everybody was kung fu fighting, and I stayed silent.
yeah,
Kelly, you're just coming in
those
hot
kicks
today.
were fast as lightning, and still I said nothing.
nothing.
It was a little bit frightening, and yet I stood silent. And finally, when they came to kung fu fight me,
There's
no one left.
to defend me. It falls apart.
But it's a funny idea.
First, hey, great parody right there.
Anyway, so yeah, they just knocked it out quickly. They thought it was just like, they weren't taking it too seriously, and then it turns out it became their biggest hit.
Yeah.
So,
I still just love. Oh, we got an hour of studio time left. You want to do something racially charged?
yeah, let's not think about it too hard. Let's go.
Should we do
I just did a line.
I mean,
It was 1974, baby.
yeah, it was the time.
I'm trying to think see if I have any other facts here. Well, you know what? This is a good time to listen to it, and then when we come back, let's go to the comment section, shall we? So here's a little taste of Kung Fu Fighting. Carl Douglas, 1974.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit.
So, you got a little taste of the song. Now let's hear what some other people think from the internet. Bill from Pensacola, Florida says, "Here is an old school trick for you. If you have this one on a 45 single, play it at 33 1/3 speed. It's a whole new fun song. You'll love the background fight songs, and it still works." So that's just
Fun fact.
Is it faster or slower at that?
that would be slower.
Well, let's do that. Put it on YouTube. Put it at 75% speed.
Kung fu.
It's playing right now.
Fighting.
That's way slower.
All the notes go away when you play it at speed. It was just a guy talking in a low voice.
Yeah, he misses things. It's weird.
Where are the drums?
That was a whole new fun song.
Well, I'll start playing it again. And it was a little bit frightening.
Oh, he's playing the Monster Mash now.
Wow. Well, Bill, you done us dirty with
Yeah,
that. That was a bad
thanks,
tip. John from Brisbane says, "This is an uplifting, spirited tune, and all of it is good and is classic pop. How can anyone dislike this great song? He or she who dislikes it must be a fat and lazy person who can't even get off his bed."
And then he closes that with asterisk dab asterisk.
Well, that's it. Sorry,
those
a
are
poor
the two
showing this
comments.
week. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
Did it peak at the charts?
Yeah,
at all?
give me the chart trivia.
Yes, it did appear on the Billboard Top 100. Would anyone care to guess where it peaked at?
1.
I'm gonna go with lucky number 11. So I'm gonna go with 7.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, yeah, it peaked at number 7, but you were going to be... No, it actually peaked at number 1.
Oh, really?
Oh,
It was a hit.
Obviously,
I mean,
it was
obviously,
a hit.
it was a
We've
huge
heard
hit.
all of this song millions of
The internet
Yeah.
wasn't around back then. It wasn't
Yeah.
woke culture.
People like screaming, "Huh."
I do like. That's my favorite
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah,
song.
this is another like wedding kind of song too. I feel like
Yeah.
it's we did last week as well. So
Yeah.
good
Boy.
picks, guys.
Again, 3 white people know all too well about this song.
Yeah.
Playing at weddings.
Yeah. Yep, is
Karate
there any way we
chops.
can appropriate disco and Asian culture? Let's do it.
Done.
Disco.
Marty, I have a question for you.
Oh, I love questions.
Have you brought us anything today?
I have, guys. I brought
I hope it's a piece of plywood that I can cut in half.
a jar of jelly beans.
I don't believe you.
See, they're a novelty product because normal beans, not multicolored.
Yeah. Not jelly.
I'm gonna pass it around. We're gonna each try a jelly bean.
I'll go
Fat
second.
free. You're gonna give us. This is gonna give us fucking diarrhea.
It is fat-free jelly beans. They are multicolored and
What brand are they?
no, just open it.
That's interesting. Okay, let me for the viewer. I like to paint a picture for the viewers. So what I'm
These
gonna
are
do
packed
is
tight.
because this is an audio medium. I'm gonna shake the can of jelly beans so you can hear them clinking around in the can. Ready? All right. Quiet on the set, and I'll give them a shake. Oh, that's weird.
They're
Utterly
packed real
silent.
tight. Marty, did you leave these in like
All
a
right, I'll go ahead and
170
open the
degree
can
car?
for this.
Thanks,
Did
guys.
they melt
Oh,
together?
it's really tight. I can't get it open. I need to angle it away from myself. I need to angle it right at Marty's microphone.
I got you.
Oh my god!
They were.
Two snakes! Two snakes!
Marty, where are the jelly
That's
beans?
right. Snakes in a jar this week, gentlemen. A classic prank toy.
Everybody go listen to the Paul F. Tompkins bit about
Yes,
this prank toy.
about peanut brittle.
It's very funny.
I was gonna do the peanut brittle, but I was like, peanut brittle will be way too obvious, so I was gonna try
As
it.
you know, I listen to that YouTube
I
clip weekly.
Also,
I
of course.
fucking love that joke.
That's a great bit. Did
Oh,
you guys?
it's Jolly Good brand jelly.
By the way, did you guys know
What? That it was going to be...
snakes? You
Once-
because you were annoyed with me to start with, so
No, I really did
was
think
one
it
of-
was-
okay, that's
you
what I
did
was-
trick me for the first... Until I held it in my hand and just
damn. I
felt
knew I
the-
should have
the-
opened it for you.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah.
I was also gonna tell you
But
before.
then you'd basically be getting
100%
yourself.
as
Or-
soon as I saw it.
I would have known if you opened it. I would have known because you would have been holding it your arms
Like away
fully
from me?
extended away from you.
Yeah. It's funny.
That was
yeah.
good. This is a good now. Marty,
Thank you.
Marty,
Good job.
you have redeemed yourself.
4 in a row.
Thank you. So there is a fun part of this, which is ingredients listed on the back of this jelly bean
Oh, what
jar.
is it?
Oh
Like,
boy.
Corn syrup, sugar, gelatin, jumping at you stuff, dextrose,
Can I see
citric
one of the
acid,
snakes?
yep, malic acid,
They look
calcium
so
citrate,
phallic.
good times. There's good times in
Yeah.
this jar.
Good
So anyway,
times.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
there is
guess
good times.
guess who's getting this
I'm
for
having a good
Christmas?
time right now.
Kristen.
Nope.
No, one of your
my nephews.
Oh, nice.
Which-
Hilarious.
Yeah.
They might actually fall for it.
I think-
I've been around the block.
I think
You
they'll
did
certainly-
fall for it. Like when you saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yes, you're right. From 4 feet away, the jar of jelly beans does look like a jar of jelly beans.
It does, yeah.
I'll give you that.
I'm the same distance away. I did not think for a second
but it's
it was
like-
actually jelly.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
It's pretty fake. Yeah, it's pretty fake.
Yeah, I guess why wouldn't it be clear? That's weird.
Yeah, it's like drawings of jelly beans.
Drawings
on the
of
outside.
jelly beans on it.
Wait, is it drawn? From here, it looks like picture.
It's
like
a photo. It's a
Okay,
photo.
It looks
yeah.
super
To me, that's a
generic.
drawing. I can't get these back.
I forgot how you're the Encino man.
drawing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
So
this is
good
fun.
prank.
Hold on, I'm trying to ball up one of the snakes in my hand. This is like a superpower I have. If I was an X-Man, I would be
You just throw
Jubilee Part 2.
spring snakes.
oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Those
So
really
I
have some.
when I thought of this and I found this jelly bean jar that I could buy, I was like so excited. I immediately tweeted, "Me finding novelty products makes me so happy, but it's really just pranking my host." Scott immediately liked the tweet that I saw.
But
I was like,
to your credit,
You didn't
I
know
don't
it was-
remember doing that.
yeah, I know you didn't know it was coming. I was nervous. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have because I never know how often you check your Twitter. But
Well, you know what it was? I thought what you meant by pranking your co-host was bringing something stupid to make us mad. I genuinely thought that's what you
that's
meant.
also part of it, though.
Like bringing bread would have been like a prank. In
that's
a
why
way, you know what
I was like,
it's not just bread. It's white.
like when I
bread.
gave you the colored pencil as a decoy.
That's why. That's why I did
That's-
this. Yeah. But no, I was like, is it recent enough for the ones that I've done that are really bad for me to do this, and hopefully Scott will fall for the idea.
Yeah, no,
that
the
he-
bar is very low, so,
Hang on.
really you're in a prime
Hang on.
position.
I've brought the best of them out. Can you have the cap, by the way, so I can put these back in?
I lost it.
Oh my god. It's never going back in.
I mean, it's in the room
where did it
somewhere.
go? Oh, you just released the whole thing, didn't you?
Oh yeah, it probably flew off
Yeah.
in your direction.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us this week on Swift's Goose Salad Songs. Thanks for listening, guys.
We really appreciate it.